Hello Slicey Dicers, this is Brian with another knife video for you. Today we have my first impressions of my first Chris Reeves Sebenza. Yes, I have one now. I think I'm an official YouTuber. I'm an official knife YouTuber now. I have a Sebenza. I know everybody's got them. I know that they are known as kind of the bar by which you judge other knives. I had an opportunity to pick this one up. It is very slightly used for a really, really good price from a very good friend of mine. And I went for it because I got it cheap enough that, you know what, I can hold on to it for a few months and resell it and at least make my money back, maybe even make a bit on it. So I couldn't pass it up because I think this is an experience I want to bring to you guys. I will talk about that more in the conclusions. But let's just get into the knife. The Chris Reeve Sebenza is an absolute freaking legend. Like I said, it is the bar by which a lot of other knives are judged. Chris Reeve has been making this Sebenza for over 30 years now. This particular version, the Sebenza 21 Large, with the clip point blade, they've been making for 10 years. So it's been around for a long time. And they're not cheap, guys. Retail on a new one of these is $410. So this is a pricey knife. You are not going to see a whole lot of knives in this price range on my channel. I swear I'm not going to get into that because I don't have the budget for it, even if I wanted to. I normally like to bring you more budgety kind of stuff, but I think I need to have a Sebenza for a while just to try it out. I probably won't keep it forever, but I want to keep it long enough to get the full Sebenza experience. So when you Chris Reeve fanboys jump on me and say, well, you never tried a Sebenza, I can say, yeah, I did. Here's the video proof. So we're going to go on an adventure together with this knife, but let's talk about it. First of all, let's get some of the boring stuff out of the way. This is just going to be a first impressions video. I've had this for all of almost exactly 24 hours. So this isn't going to be a full-on review. You're going to see more videos about this. Sorry, I'm clearing my throat there. I hate it when people do that, but I'm a bit froggy this evening. Let's get into the specs just to get that out of the way. Like I said, not going to be a full review. I'm just going to do a quick version of the specs, a couple size comparisons, and then we're going to talk about what the future holds for this knife and its place in this channel. So you have an overall length of 8.4 inches, well, 8.35 inches, blade length of just over 3.5 inches, blade thickness 0.13. You have a weight of 4.7 ounces and a handle length of 4.7 inches. So I think that's in the the width is pretty good, 0.43 inches. So under half an inch, which is kind of that the Marginot line that a lot of people want their EDC knives to be thinner than, and it is well below that half-inch thickness. Let's do some size comparisons here while I got it out. Let's do, I haven't used this for a size comparison in a bit. The Cold Steel American Lawman. So we have it there. Really sorry about clearing my throat, guys. I hate it when people do that, but I just can't help it right now. We have the Ontario Rat Model 1. And I think one easy to compare it to, because everybody's got one of these, or at least has held one. We have the Spyderco Paramilitary Two. Now, I admit, I had never even held a genuine Chris Reeve until I got this in the mail yesterday. So I had a lot to learn, and I've been fiddling with it ever since for the last 24 hours, annoyingly so to everyone around me, but it's pretty cool. The finish on it, that's what Chris Reeve is known for, right? The quality is, they won the quality award at Blade Show something like 13 years in a row or something ridiculous like that. I don't know the exact stats, but they are very, very well built. They always say that bank vault feel. They always talk about it. That is what it feels like. This thing feels like it would survive the apocalypse with no issues whatsoever. I like a lot of aesthetically, it's not the most beautiful thing in the world until you get really close to it. And then you see things like, the blade's all nice and rounded off at the top. That's cool. They didn't need to do that. The jimping, it works really well, and for some reason just feels expensive, because it is expensive. But just the jimping even feels very expensive. The screw quality is outstanding. Comes with this really nice titanium clip. I don't like the font, but you know me, I'm a font snob. But simple. No, this is S35VN steel, but there's not even that written on the blade. Nothing on the blade. Just that little Chris Reeves logo and the Idaho made on the other side. That's it. That's the only logos you get. It does come with a lanyard. I hate lanyards, so I took it off. And to take it off, and the way they do their little lanyard holder is you have to tear it apart. And it is an absolute joy to take apart. Wow. So easy. Everything's super simple. Runs on bronze bushings. Some pretty unique bronze bushings, not your average bronze bushings, but still, it just runs on bronze bushings. 3 screws, all the same size to get it apart. I think they're T8 if I remember correctly. I might be wrong on that. Somebody can correct me. Super easy to tear apart. Super easy to clean up. Super easy to loop. And where some companies don't want you to take their knives apart, Chris Reeve encourages it. I've heard several people say even if you get it apart and you can't get it back together, you send it to them and they'll put it back together. So they encourage you to take it apart. They have outstanding service and outstanding quality. And I highly encourage you, I'm going to link to it down below, if you are considering a Chris Reeve. The thing that pushed me over the edge to get this was I watched Blade HQ did a Meet Your Maker thing with Chris Reeve, which is 2 separate 15-minute videos, part 1, part 2, and it's like a tour of the factory and a talk with Chris Reeve. It is amazing. And the amount of time and effort they put into that, just watching that video, you're like, oh, that's why it costs $410. So you kind of get it after a while. Beautifully made knife and beautiful blade. This is a hollow grind. This does still have the factory edge on it. I did strop it when I got it just to make sure that it was at its sharpest. It is very sharp, and I can tell it is the factory edge because they have this convex grind, which is pretty unique to Chris Reeve. And 99% of the time, if your Chris Reeve knife has been sharpened by someone other than the Chris Reeve factory, it's not going to have that convex edge anymore, and this still does. It was sharp when I got it, but I stropped it. Now it's razor sharp. Very, very cool. It's an S35VN, which Chris Reeve helped create. He also created the liner or the frame lock. That is Chris Reeve's invention, which is pretty cool, I think. It's pretty neat. Now, this is another step back to the quality thing. It doesn't have most titanium frame locks. This is all titanium frame. Have a steel insert. This does not. So that's kind of unique. But, I'm not going to argue with the man. I kind of think it's odd in modern times not to have that. But as I said, this is an update of a fairly old design. Ergonomically, it's also pretty darn good. It's not outstanding. I mean, it's not like, my favorite, the Manix 2 or anything. But it's really good. You're really locked in. There are no hot spots. The jimping is pretty good. You can't really choke up at all, but that jimping works really well, and the finish is pretty unique. As I said, this one is slightly used, so the sandpapery feeling they're known for isn't quite still there anymore. It's mostly still there, but it still feels really grippy. For titanium, it's very, very grippy. It does smooth out to this kind of, you can still hear it. I mean, there's some grip there, but when they're first sandblasted from the factory, they're even more grippy. But still, man, I don't feel like this is going anywhere at all. I wouldn't worry about it in any situation. I wouldn't worry about it getting wet and slipping out of my hand. Fits in my hand great. Now, in carry, it's also very, very good because, as you can see, closed, the height is pretty short for an over 3.5 inch blade. It's pretty short. The pocket clip is well positioned. It's a joy in the pocket, and under 5 ounces, which is fine with me weight-wise. Yes, there are lighter knives in this category, but that's not really what this thing is about. Sebenza means work in foreign talk, and that's what this knife is designed to do. And you can tell that in the deployment. This is not a super flippy, falsetty ZT or a Kaiser or a Wii or anything like that. This runs on phosphor bronze bushings because they're easier to service. and it's still super smooth, so smooth. But luckily, before I got this, I did a whole lot of research about. Okay, I did research, meaning I spent like 3 hours on the internet watching Sebenza videos, but I wasn't expecting it to be that fall shutty kind of thing. But it's not, and you can flip it open, but it's not super easy to do. You have to give it some wrist. You can do it. Chris Reeve himself says that's not what it's made for, but you can do it. Like I said, I tore this apart so while I was in there. I re-greased it and stuff, but it's so smooth, but it's not that loose, fall free. It's not like your PM2 where you're just gonna hit it and it's gonna fall closed. That's not what the Sebenza is all about. I mean, yeah, if you hold it, I'm gonna have to. The camera angle's gonna be weird here, but yeah, it falls down. But you have to be holding the lock bar over. The lock bar pressure would normally stop it from doing that the whole way down. But it's exactly what I expected it to be. That a lot of people call it hydraulic. I know it's an overused thing, but that is kind of what it feels like. It's a very fluid motion, but it's not that. Oh, it is so smooth, but it's not that snappy. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. I stumbled around there for 2 minutes, but we got there. It's just not that snappy kind of fall shutty performance. But it works great, and I like it for what it is. I've gotten, over the last 24 hours, pretty good at flicking it open. Like I said, it does require some wrist, and you have to make sure you are not giving it a lock pressure. And the only thing in the deployment that bothers me is I do wish this pocket clip wasn't on the lock bar, because my reflex is to hold onto the pocket clip while I flip it open. But this has such a long lock bar compared to most other tie frame locks that the pocket clip is pushing on the frame lock there. So it does. You do have to make sure you don't have your fingers on the frame lock if you want to flip it open, or close it for that matter. So that takes a while to get used to, but yeah, you just hold it like that instead of, my reflex is to hold it, like this, but you can't. So you got to hold it down like that, and then it'll flick open. So I can't complain about the deployment at all. It's different. It's not what my brain is programmed for a titanium frame lock, but it's still really, really good. Did I miss anything else I wanted to talk about here? I don't think I did. Like I said, this is just kind of first impressions. I did do some cutting with it today. I had to break down a few boxes, and I used it for that. I had to open some dog and cat food bags. I used it for that. I even cut up a few vegetables with it, and that's what I'm going to do with this knife. It is an expensive knife, but Chris Reeves, especially the Sebenza, like I said, it means work in some language, and it's meant to be used, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. I watch a lot of car videos on YouTube. That's the other thing I watch, other than knife videos primarily. And a lot of these car YouTubers talk about, like, my first supercar, and they go through the whole experience of getting the car, going to get paint protection film, taking out its first road trip, things like that. That's what I'm going to try and do with this. This is my first expensive knife, and it's a Sebenza that everybody knows about, and everybody knows what it is. So I'm just going to immerse myself in the Chris Reeve Sebenza 21 experience for the next few months. I'm going to carry this as much as I can. If I'm not reviewing something or don't have some new thing that's caught my eye, I'm going to carry this. I'm going to use it for everything. I'm going to beat on it. I kind of want to, at some point, send it off to Chris Reeve for service. There's no real need to yet. The only where it shows is, the thumb stud starting to wear off, but that happens very quickly according to everything I've read, so that's not surprising. I've seen some people within a day, they look that bad, so I'm not surprised by that. A couple little snail trails. I don't think the camera could even pick them up. They're so tiny. But, yeah, I'm going to send it off for service after a few months. I plan on keeping this for about like 3 months and then send it off for service and get it back and see what that whole experience is like. I may, change the screws out or something. There's so many ways to customize it. I just want to immerse myself in this whole thing. Like I said, I'd never even held one before. So I want to know about it because it's a very important knife for people, and a very important knife to the community. And I think I need to know more about it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to immerse myself in this for the next 3 months. It's not going to make an appearance in every single video. I'm not going to do any comparisons or anything because I'm never going to have anything else this expensive for a very long time. So there's nothing to really compare it to that I'm ever going to have, unless I start getting loaners that are expensive, and then, yeah, then maybe I will. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I hope you guys will enjoy this little adventure I'm going to take and try and take you guys with me. So hope you guys have found this video entertaining. Have a good one. I've been Brian. Talk to you later.